Being a professor who can shape your units into many different options, it can be good to know what characters will wind up doing the best in. In the final part of this 5-part series, we'll be covering the staff and faculty characters of the Church of Seiros. This video will be completely spoiler-free for major parts of the game and of anything past the halfway point in the story. As such, I won't show the classes that I talk about here. Without further ado, let's conclude this recommended class series. Starting out, we have Raya. So, thing is, she's programmed into the game to excel at certain things like any other unit you can teach, but I can't answer whether or not she's recruitable. It's not even because of spoiler reasons, I actually don't know. I still haven't beaten my first playthrough at the time of writing this script after being over 50 hours in, and at the time of actually recording this, I have beaten my first playthrough and I'm now halfway through my second playthrough, and I still can't actually answer whether or not she's recruitable. I have no idea. I tried to find online whether or not she's recruitable, and it seems to have caused a decent bit of confusion on the internet of people unsure whether or not she's recruitable. Like, she has support conversations, I don't know how you activate them. Apparently you can bring her up to S support, I don't know how. So I honestly don't even know if you can get her in your army. But if you somehow do, she excels in sword and faith. Progress her to become either a holy knight or a mortal savin. Manuela serves best as a supporting unit, excelling in faith and having spells such as ward, silence, and warp in her arsenal. To best position herself for her supporting spells and use them to their max effectiveness, she would do best as a holy knight with high movement and strong faith magic. Hanuman, on the other hand, is armed with primarily offensive magic, with powerful spells such as Thoron, Ragnarok, and Meteor. As well, he excels at both reason and riding, allowing him best to go on to become a dark knight. Seth can best continue on his default path, becoming a wyvern lord. He has skill in sword, lance, axe, authority, and flying, allowing him to fly around attacking with potentially any of the 3 main weapons best, or using higher level battalions. Flayn is best to go on to become a Grimoire. She and Mercedes are the only 2 units with access to the Fortify spell, which restores a ton of HP to every unit in range, for a lot of HP. Grimoire doubles the uses of all magic, allowing her to use spells like Fortify less sparingly, keeping the team alive. As well, she excels in both reason and faith, perfect for a Grimoire. Though one could make her a holy knight for a higher focus on faith magic. Cyril is an interesting one. Also, having played this game a bit now, I know it's pronounced Cyril. He's the equivalent of villager classes from previous games, such as Donal or Mozu, sharing the unique skill Aptitude with those 2. This skill increases the growth rate of every stat by 20%, so every stat is 20% more likely to increase on level up. So he typically starts off fairly weaker than most other units, but if you give him the practice he needs, he can easily become one of your best as he starts to get some of the best stats in the game. Because of this, Cyril can excel in almost any class, except for the magic-based classes. Both reason and faith magic are a flaw for him, and he learns very limited spells. His skills are lance, axe, bow, riding, and flying. Because of this, the best classes for Cyril are typically either the bow knight or wyvern lord. Though my personal preference for him is the wyvern lord. Catherine is a bit of a tricky one. I'd personally have her go on to become a Moral Savant, as the highest class for swords, but she has a flaw in reason magic. It may be difficult for her to learn reason magic, but Mortal Savant seems the most fitting for her, allowing her to focus on her unique sword weapon, and take advantage of the +5 damage from Swordfare, with Moral Savant being the only master class with that skill as a class skill. Alois, best girl. Owl Feather.
Wow. For me?
Yeah, I got you an owl feather, my dude. Excels at axe, brawling, and armor. As such, he can make a decent fortress knight or grappler for a while. But for master classes, it is best if he drops the armor, as the only armored master class is a Great Knight. War Master suits him best, using both of his weapon proficiencies. Gilbert, from what I hear, he may only be recruitable in the Blue Lions route? This man is literally the definition of a Great Knight. He excels in lance, axe, armor, and riding, all the things that benefits a Great Knight to excel in. Grey Knight gains Lance Fair and Axe Fair, getting +5 damage when using either weapon, which Gilbert excels in. If you make him anything but a Great Knight, you're crazy. Finally, Shamir shouldn't be that hard to guess. She works best as a bow knight. She excels in both lances and bows, and already has the two built up quite a bit when you recruit her, so the only thing you really even have to work at to train is riding. Her personal skill, Survival Instinct, gives her +4 strength, magic, dexterity, and speed for 1 turn after defeating an enemy. She's benefited by the high movement of Bow Knight, plus the Canto ability to help play to this. She can defeat an enemy and be able to position herself for counterattacks during the enemy phase with this free buff. I said back in the first part I'd mention again what all 4 main characters excel at in their final classes in the parts for their respective house, and I guess this is the closest thing to that for Byleth. So in Byleth's final class, which is automatically unlocked as part of the story, they focus on sword, brawling, faith, and authority. Well, that's everyone covered in this 5-part series on master classes. In the future, I plan on doing character showcases, where we discuss builds and strategy around specific units in the game, far further than just what master class to make them. If you have any questions about any of this, leave a comment down below, or better yet, ask me directly on my Twitch or Discord server, links in the description below. I hope I've been able to help, and until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.
I'm sorry. Please, ignore my troubled ramblings. Was something the matter? Something to do with the White Heron Cup? Professor, I beg of you, please do not choose me as our house representative. I am utterly serious. What? Oh, curse you, Professor! I will of course accept, but know that you have damned us all.